Students, let us take up very important topic, the bear story, written by Axel Munthe. There was once a lady who lived in a manor house of the forest on the border of a big forest. She had a pet bear she was very fond of. This bear was found half dead of hunger in the forest. This was several years ago. Now this bear has grown up, and it had grown up to a big bear, so big and strong that he would have slain a cow and carried it away between his two paws if he wanted to. But he did not want. He was most amicable bear. He was the most amicable bear. Let us write here. He was the most amicable bear. Point number 4. He was the most amicable bear. Most amicable. Notice this word. Amicable. Living happily with all other animals. Social mixing and having no any kind of irritation and ill feeling. The bear was very amicable. He used to sit outside his kennel and look with his small intelligent eyes most amicably at the cattle grazing in the field. The 3 shaggy mountain ponies in the stable knew him well. And he did not mind in the least, even when he shuffled into the stable with his mistress. The children used to ride on his back and had more than once been found asleep in his kennel between his two paws. The 3 dogs loved to play all sort of things with him, pull his ears and the stump of a tail and tease him in every way. But the bear did not mind in the least. He had never tasted meat. Another point, not only amicable, he was, point number 5, the bear was vegetarian. The bear was vegetarian. Then children, you might be thinking, what this bear eat? This bear ate so many things. Bread, porridge, potato, turnip, cabbage, and he has fine appetite. He liked to eat the fruits very much. Bears are vegetarian if they have a chance. And this bear got a chance, and this bear was vegetarian. And fruit was that he liked most. In the autumn, he used to sit and look towards the ripening apples in the orchard. And his young days, he has been sometimes unable to resist the temptation to climb up the trees. Bears look clumsy and slow in their movement, but try a bear with an apple tree and you will soon find out that he can easily beat any schoolboy in climbing. Now he had learned it was against the rule of law, but he kept his small eyes wide open for apples that fell to the ground. There had also been some difficulties about the beehives. From that day onward, he had been punished for this act, being put on the chain for 2 days with a bleeding nose, and he had never done it again. Otherwise, he has never put on chain except for night and on Sundays. It was put on chains on Sundays. When was the bear put on chain? It was put on chain on Sundays. Children, the bear was put on chain on Sundays. The bear was put on chain Sundays. Why? Do you know why? Because on Sunday his mistress would go to her sister's house. Her sister's house was on the other side of the forest and there was a lake in between. So on Sundays, her mistress used to go to see her sister. Normally she was carrying the bear with her, but an incident took place. Once she was carrying and the bear jumped with the gust of wind. Suddenly, the boat got disbalanced and they had to swim to the shore. Because of that, now the mistress did not carry this bear along with her. So on Sundays, she keeps the bear in the chain. So not only this, dear friends, he was such a quite well that with a friendly tap on his head. Every time when she was going, she was just putting a tap on his head and promising an apple after her return if he had been indisciplined during her absence. He was sorry, but resigned like a good dog. When his mistress tells him he cannot come with her for a walk. On Sunday, when the lady had chained him up as usual, what happened? When she was about halfway through the forest, she suddenly thought she heard the cracking of sound of a tree branch bending footpath behind her. She looked back and was horrified to see the bear coming along full speed. Bears look as if they move along quite slowly, but they shuffle along much faster than a trotting horse. In a minute, the bear joined her mistress, like a dog at her heels. The lady was very angry to see this act of bear. There was no time to take him back. She did not want him to come with her. And besides, it was very naughty of him to come like this because he had disobeyed her. She told him in her severest voice to go back at once, menacing him with her parasol. And when that lady saw that the bear had lost its collar, she became very angry and the lady hit the bear with her parasol. And by hitting with the parasol, the nose of the bear got injured, broke into two. He stopped again, shook his head, opened his big mouth like yawning, wanted to say something, then he turned round and began to suffer. Now, we can see here, when the lady came home in the evening, the bear was sitting silently, waiting for her mistress to come. When the lady came back, she started scolding in a severest voice. She was very angry and she warned her that he would have to be in chain for 2 more days for disobeying her. The old cook, who loved the bear very much, she came and she told her mistress, "Why are you scolding, Mrs.? This bear has been as good as an angel, waiting for you, sitting throughout the day, waiting for the mistress." Now the question is, the old cook said, "This bear has been sitting like an angel." So this thing 7 points. This bear has been as good as an angel. As an angel throughout the day. As an angel throughout the day. Throughout the day. Now, instead of scolding, you should punish the lady, the cook said. From this chapter, dear students, what comes out is that we should think before we should act. Think properly. Before proper thinking, before proper contemplation, before going into the pros and cons of the things, this, that, positive, negative, right, wrong. Before thinking all these things, one should not take action. What happened in the last class also, you might have read the story of the mongoose. When the lady killed the mongoose, thinking that the mongoose had killed the son of the lady. But the fact was that the mongoose had killed the snake, not the son. Here also, the lady acted in haste, without proper thinking. That bear was sitting like an angel, very obedient, and this bear was amicable one. Three things are important. Number one, this bear was very amicable. This bear was vegetarian, not eating so many things. This bear was very obedient also. Amicable, we can see examples of amicability. The bear lived with 3 mountain ponies, lived with the dogs, played with the children. Children were found between his paws, sleeping even. The bear was eating potato, cabbage, turnip, porridge, these things. The bear was sometimes resisting the temptation to get the fruit falling from the tree. The bear was obedient. Here the lady behaved in such a manner that shows the improper thinking. So we think out of this chapter, as Axel Munthe suggests us, animals, we should not keep unusual pets. If we keep our behavior, sometimes we should keep our behavior correct. Sometimes what happens, we are keeping unusual pets, as you have another story of Timothy, the tiger. Some people are fond of keeping snakes, tigers, these things. One should not keep animals of unusual kind, the wild nature, the behavior of some animals, those who live in the forest. So, these things come out from this chapter, as Axel Munthe suggests us that proper behavior is needed. Because the lady visited her sister on Sunday, so she used to keep this bear in chain. She thought that bear has come on the way in the forest, but the fact was the bear was sitting like an angel, as the cook is giving the proof of that. So I think this chapter is very important with the point of view of keeping the animals as pet. So out of this story, amicability is the learning point. One should be very amicable, social, mixing together. Togetherism is one of the facts for living in a society. Another thing, the bear is vegetarian, and the bear was put on chains on Sundays. Even then, he is as good as an angel. So, dear students, as one or two questions given in the chapter, let us see. Sometimes what happens that, how did the old lady brought up? This bear was brought up on the bottle by the old cook. what they think, second bear did not attack the lady because he was afraid of her. So the second bear did not attack because of the behavior, the common behavior of the lady. The lady was authoritative behavior of the lady. The lady was thinking that this bear belongs to her. But the fact was that that bear was wild bear, and the bear that is with the lady is quite civilized now. And another thing, most people keep dogs and cats as pets. Can you think of some unusual pet that people keep? Tiger, as we have given this example. Timothy, another example is that some of these animals, we should not keep such animals. This story can be compared with the another story, I want something in a cage. In that story also, the man who earned with out of hard work, he earned some money, and that money was spent to purchase a bird, and after purchasing the bird was left in the air. So this suggests the importance of social behavior. Today, as we are talking of human rights, we should talk about animal rights as well. I think these two stories and the comparison of this story with I want something in a cage will certainly enrich us, will give us the idea how we live in the society, how we behave, how we think before any action. Thank you so much, dear student.